Hi everyone, welcome to the new video. So today we are going to discuss about the pipeline structure or workflow in detail. Whether it is in Jenkins, whether it is in GitHub Actions, the syntax may change, but the stages will remain same. So we are going to discuss about it, and it's very important that we should know, because as an experienced person, when we are giving an interview, it is assumed that you should know that how pipeline is created, what all stages are there, and what all stages are important, we should know. So let's go and discuss. And yeah, whether it is written in Jenkins, whether the pipeline script is written in GitHub Actions, the main things that are same. First of all, where that script will run. In Jenkins, we should have an agent. In GitHub Actions, we should have a runners. So that you need to set up in the starting of your pipeline script. After that, setting everything, your environment, your parameters, everything, taking the inputs, on which trigger the pipeline should get triggered, whether it is push, pull, or it should be, manual. So after setting all these things, first of all, if your application is Java based application, okay, if your application is Java based application, so first stage you need to identify that which tech stack your application is. So, of that you are going to automate the deployment, the both CI and CD part. So in which tech stack that basically that application is, whether it is mix of some Java, Scala, whether it's Python, whether it's Node.js, or it is something else. So that you need to identify first. Based on that, we need to decide that okay, we will use Maven, whether we should use Python pip commands, whether we should use npm, what we, or just we want a Docker image to be created, so we need Docker file for it. So but at all, that we need to identify that in which tech stack our application is written. That is one thing, so that you should be very clear, like whenever you are going to write a pipeline script, whether it is CI, whether it is CD, you should be very clear about the manual steps. Okay, you should sit with developers, collaborate with them. This is what comes, like one of the quality of DevOps engineer, that they have to collaborate with developers, they have to sit with the developers and understand that okay, when they are build when they have written the source code, they are how they are building the jars, and how they are deploying it manually, what is what, and each step should be clear. What manual step from scratch, even if you are changing the path of the file on the server, even if you are logging in somewhere, every step should be clear to you. Once all the steps are clear, then only you can start your uh, migration, what you say, your pipeline script. You're writing your pipeline script. So that collaboration, that quality should be there, that you are able to collaborate with developers, and you should ask those questions, that you are able to understand okay, these steps they'll do. Because what happened, according to my experience, when you'll go to some team and you'll ask okay, how you are deploying, so they won't tell you in much detail. That is what is happening. They won't dig in much, or of course they won't tell you, or they might be those steps are not in their mind right now, like they'll skip few steps. It is you who have to dig in small details and get those details. So that is also one of the qualities that DevOps engineers should have, that what kind of question they should ask, that they will get all their answers, and those are very necessary for a DevOps engineer to know. So if what actually in CI, if they are building something, what actually they are doing, where they are publishing, that you should be clear about what, if they are doing any scans manually, then if CD they are doing, then where exactly they are deploying it, what kind of server it is, whether it's a cloud based server, whether it's on prem server, what kind of cluster it is, how they are logging into cluster, then what all steps they are following, if it's what kind of deployment, if it's a helm based approach, if it's a jar, or if it's a file, docker file, what all steps they are manually doing. You should try to dig in more and more details. So you should have bundle of questions to be prepared, so that you can ask, so that you can get the clarity. That is also one of the quality of the DevOps engineer, that that when you start working, you get to know. Then second step is, after identifying all that, uh, we are we will have the checkout. First step is checkout code. So you have to check out the code from your repo. uh, uh, Whatever SEM tool, you have to check out the code from that repo. After doing the checkout, you have to build. So your build commands will be very specific to your technology. If it's Java, if you can use Maven, you can use Gradle. So it's MV. We have Maven commands for build and all. So accordingly we have to use. If we have Python, so what all, there will be requirements .txt file, where we'll be installing our requirements, and then after installing the requirements, we have to install the uh, whatever the dependencies are there. Then we will set up our application, which package we want, that all setup.py. So all those things we can talk in detail for specific tech stack. So I would that also we can pick up, that I'll pick up one day each tech stack application, and will try to give the pipeline script for base on that specific tech stack, so that we get the more clarity. So yeah, that is one thing that we'll do, of course, surely in coming videos. Then after the build, you need to do unit tests. Unit testing is very important, where you test each. Suppose you have a monorepo architecture, or you have a monorepo, or if you so every module should be tested, that if there is some issue or not, that should be testing should be done. After unit test is done, we can include more scans like SonarQube scan. Okay, SonarQube scan is important to check the code quality, code coverage, if there is any vulnerability, bugs, all those comes in SonarQube scan. After SonarQube scan, we can have the Docker image creation step, where we are creating the Docker image. After creating a Docker image, we can have image scan. For that, what kind of tool you want to use for image scan, whether it is a Trivi, or whether it is some other kind of container image scan that you want to use, that you need to include. So that is also very important, that you should include it. So this all comes in CI part. Then when you make your CD part, in that everything related to deployment, like where are you deploying. So basically that part will only contain deployment step, deployment stage, and that deployment stage depends that if you are using any script to deploy, or if you are using kubectl commands to deploy, so that script you will run on that cluster. So basically this pipeline should be able to log into the cluster, to the server, and it should be able to run those script of deployment. So after those that this deployment stage, basically it should contain the deploy commands. So that depends that how they are doing the deployment, whether it is, they are doing using kubectl commands. Simply there are YAML files, and where they are updating the Docker image, and then those YAML files they are applying on the cluster. Or if there is a Helm based approach, so they're using Helm upgrade commands. Or if it is like they are using some manual commands for they are updating the jar file. So in that case, you need to bring up your ideas at how you can create a Docker image for those jar files, and instead of using the jar files, how can you use the Docker image. So that is one thing that comes in. So basically, this is a pipeline that we have. After deployment, we can include smoke test. Um, so test is basically for, if the image, or the whatever the app you have deployed, is it failing somewhere? So it's just a check, so that you can do. Or you can include some monitoring commands also in the pipeline to monitor after the deployments. So this is kind of a pipeline that we create for any for automation of CI/CD. So yeah, that's all. In coming videos, of course, we also have one series for hair. We are starting this series as well. That way, I will pick one specific, tech stack and build the pipeline around it. So yeah, we'll carry forward all both of the series. So yeah, I hope it's helpful. So yeah.
So that's all for today's video. I hope it's helpful. Please let me know your views in the comment section. Till then, take care. Bye.